Hey everyone, RuneWraith here, and in this guide I'm going to teach you everything you need to know to handle RuneScape's new duo boss, the Royal Titans. Since these are duo bosses, this video is going to assume that you have a friend with you. Now, let's start with how to get there. The fastest way will be to use a giant soul amulet with a direct teleport to the bosses. However, since you're watching this guide, I'm assuming you don't have that yet. So the next best option is the Fairy Ring Teleport AIQ to the Asgardian Ice Dungeon. If you have 60 agility, you can take a shortcut to the ice lair where the bosses reside. For gear, I'll be showing a high level and mid level setup. For the high level setup, you should bring full Blood Moon armor, the dual Macahoodle, primordial boots, an Altor ring, Barrow's gloves, a fire or infernal cape, a Rancor, and a Rada's blessing. For the inventory, we should bring a 4-way range switch into high-level gear like Masuri, a blowpipe, and an anguish, along with a 4-way mage swap into arms and a cult and the twin flame or elemental staff. Ultimately, it should be no surprise that Scythe and Torva will be best in slot, but these are mid-level bosses, so we can definitely get away with a lot less. And speaking of a lot less, let's cover the mid-level setup. For this setup, we'll be using the full Blood Moon armor with a fire cape, a berserker ring, Barrow's gloves, and a fury. In our inventory, we're going to be having a 5-way swap into Eclipse Moon set with an Addle and an assembler. We should have a 3-way swap into the Blue Moon armor with a Twin Flame staff if you have it, or just a fire or water battle staff otherwise. For both setups, I'd recommend a Noxious or Crystal Halberd and or Burning Claws to dish out some damage as the bosses are retreating. Fill the rest of your inventory with runes for casting fire and or water spells, some hard food like sharks or manta rays, prayer potions, and a set of stat boosting potions. The mechanics of these bosses are fairly straightforward, and the fight takes place in 2 phases. When you enter the boss lair, you'll see 2 titans on each side of a small section of land. Pray melee for the entire fight. They will regularly summon both fire and ice walls to trap your player along a slice of tiles, restricting your movement. If you have confidence in your movement skills, you can ignore these mechanics for a time to focus damage on the boss. However, if you prefer to keep the arena clean and don't mind a slightly longer fight, you can put out the fire and ice walls with their opposite elemental spells, i.e. fire spells put out ice walls and water spells put out fire walls. The Titans will also summon fire and ice minions, which attack with melee and will explode after a short time in a 3x3 area. Much like the walls, these can be quickly killed with their opposite element, and damage is dealt in a 3x3 area, which can eliminate all 3 minions at once. Titans have a weakness to melee, so when one of them comes within melee distance, switch to your melee gear and dish out as many attacks as you can. After a short amount of time, the Titans will move away from the players and have a massively reduced defense from range attacks, so players will want to switch into their range gear and keep focusing damage on the Titans. Once one of the Titans reaches 35% health, phase 2 of the fight starts, where the Titans will position themselves on each side of the arena. They'll stop summoning walls for this phase, but will incorporate a new attack called Elemental Blast. The Titans will charge up and do damage to the entire arena, except for a single glowing safe spot, which will look like a yin-yang sign. Their attacks follow a set pattern. Stomp attack, which is completely negated by Protect from melee. They'll summon their minions, and then they'll do an Elemental Blast. Simply kill each Titan to finish off the fight. But wait. Before you gear up and close out YouTube, I have a few tips which will make these fights go way smoother and help to extend your trip. First, I find it best in P1 for both players to focus on a single Titan. The elemental wall attacks are annoying, spam up the arena, and take precious DPS away from the boss fight. The second phase is more predictable, and it's easy to continue to do DPS throughout the whole phase. So focus damage on one Titan. Now if you're sweaty, while the Elemental Blast is charging in P2, switch into your range gear and range the boss while the blast occurs. You can get a few extra hits off and help speed up the fight. And finally, and most importantly, kill the Titans at the same time. After you kill one of the Titans, the other one powers up, and its unavoidable stomp attack starts hitting 10s through prayer, which will add up quickly, trust me. By killing them at or near the same time, you help to save supplies and extend trips for both you and your friend. Now here's a commented example so you can put everything together. So before we start this fight here, I want to point out that I am in some budget gear. I've got Mystics, a Mystic Water Battle Staff, a Book of Darkness, Black D'hide, top and bottom. I've got a Rune Plate body on, an Amulet of Glory, and like a magic shortbow with a Dragon Dagger for specking. So I am in some budget gear, and throughout the fight I don't use Piety either. So these are definitely mid-level bosses that you can take on, especially if you've done some of the Moons content already from Varlamore. And with that, let's get into the kill. So I'm starting off this kill with some really budget gear. I take a sip of my pre-pots and prepare to create a new instance with me and my buddy. So pretty much as soon as we enter, the Titans automatically start throwing up walls. This one happened to cancel each other out because they're fire and ice, but I'm going to go into my range gear almost immediately and start ranging the boss. So you can see with these walls how they can quickly restrict the area that you're able to move in. And as I see that the Titan is moving closer, I switch into my melee gear and start meleeing him instead. He's moving out of range again, so I'm going to range, and the Titan has spawned minions. So my buddy and I have already agreed that I'm going to take on the ice ones and he's going to do the fire ones. So I'm going to do my job and clean up these ice minions and try to clean up the rest of the arena as well to keep things nice and simple for us. So as the Titan moves closer, I'm going to attack him with melee, and you can see that we want to prioritize melee when he's close and then switch into our range gear when he leaves. We're also focusing down just the Fire Titan in this instance. We're ignoring the Ice Titan for now because we want to get into P2. So now that we're in P2, I'm going to try to clear the arena and then switch into my melee gear and take on the Fire Titan. So they're charging up for their special attack. They're going to slam the ground. I'm going to get a few extra range hits on them before switching back into my melee gear and continuing to attack the Titan. Of course, when the minions come out, we're going to take them down with our mage attack, using fire on the ice minions and ice or water spells on the fire minions. So the fight is pretty repetitive from here on out, just attacking the Titans with melee, handling their minions when they spawn, and making sure to stay on that yin-yang square whenever they do their power-up attack. So now just the fire minions spawn, so I'm going to let my buddy take care of those, and we're going to try to kill these Titans at or around the same time. So we want to keep an eye on both of their health so that they die at the same time, so that they don't power up and do damage to us through their prayer. So he just finished off the Fire Titan, and then we finish off the Ice Titan together, only tanking one hit. So pretty clean fight overall, and that's how you handle the Titans. Well, that's all I had for my guide on the Royal Titans. I hope you learned something new, or at least learned something from the guide. So if you enjoy this content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as it really helps my channel grow. Thank you, and have a great day.